What is up, guys? Coming back at you with episode 6 of the podcast. I'm Jerry Green.
Oh, I'm Spencer Lindstrom.
I'm Logan Lloyds.
Alright, well, let's get right into it. Logan said he's got a good philosophical question going on for us today.
Yeah, I got a really good one to start. We're going to go heavy right off the bat, boys. Overall, are humans better at creation or destruction?
Destruction.
Creation.
Hands down.
Debate.
Okay. I feel destruction because we destroy everything we create. That's a fact.
But we gotta create it first, though.
That's facts.
Yeah, but I mean, how easy is
we
it to
destroyed
destroy stuff?
Yet.
How easy is it to, take a sledgehammer and smash a building?
You're right.
True, but you gotta create that sledgehammer, bro.
In the building.
Yeah, but we
And the
create
building.
more things to destroy than we do to create.
Okay, we also create, bonds between each other, and
Yeah.
we don't always destroy those.
Okay.
You'll have
I was
those till
thinking
the day that you
physical
die.
things.
Well, either way. There's still
I don't know,
buildings.
but a lot of bonds are destroyed. Probably not as many as are created, though.
Yeah.
Depends what kind of bonds we're talking
Well,
about.
I think when we're destroying, the relationship bonds, we're not, just taking a sledgehammer and saying, I'm never talking to you again. I think it's just,
it's a lot more
fading
complicated
away.
than that, you know?
Yeah.
Don't talk about fading away. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah. Okay. I was
Okay.
going to elaborate, but...
Okay, no, go ahead then.
Well, I was going to say, with your personal relationships and stuff, you're not going to just outright say, I'm never going to talk to you again, or this is the last time I'm going to talk to you, unless it's something, on a
that does
bad
happen.
note.
I don't know,
It does happen, but you're, far more likely to just gradually stop talking to them and just talk to them less and less.
There's a lot of people who are estranged from their parents, or we don't go to my brother's house, or dumb stuff like that. And usually, as far as I can tell, usually it's over something that's not worth all the trouble that they're going through to
or something
avoid
that
each
can be
other.
easily resolved.
Like the old man in Home Alone, where he's like, I don't want to talk to my son. He doesn't want to talk to me. I'm scared of what he's gonna say. And then in the end, Kevin's like, yo, dude, you should definitely call your son. And then he does. And then they're meeting up, and he's hugging his granddaughter for the first time ever. Stuff like that.
Very cool.
Yeah, I've never seen Home Alone, so that kind of went over my head.
What?
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Kind of on, sidetrack off of, fading away.
Continue.
Sorry.
Do you want me to do a new question, or
No.
do you want to keep going?
No, I got confused because of the background noise, but
Anyway, what were
I
you
don't know, I
saying?
kind of lost my flow. to be
Alright,
honest.
that's fine. We can switch it up. This one has two parts. I'm going to start with the first one. What is the most uplifting thing happening in the world right now? Uplifting. Or we can switch it up.
No, I got this. Hot air balloon.
Can you elaborate on that?
Because you're being lifted so high up into the air
Oh, you meant literally.
through the power. It works two ways.
Well, I think in that case, if we're talking about physically, I think what is it, Bernoulli's principle? How planes fly? Because, the velocity on the top creates a low pressure on the top of the wings, and it's longer, and then they go up.
It's like a shower curtain, my dude. That's why it sucks into the shower. That's Bernoulli's principle. Yes, it is. That's what Mrs. Hanson said in 8th grade. No, I'm not going to Google it. That's what she said.
Look it up. Why do we fly then? Why do planes fly?
I don't know, man, but
Aerodynamics.
hot air balloons work on two levels. Have you ever seen? First off, I've never seen anyone in a hot air balloon. But if you did, have you ever seen a sad?
Surveillance.
Have you ever seen a sad person?
Yeah.
In a hot air balloon.
I was watching this one episode of, I think it was I don't even remember, but it was about these two kids. They were in their hot air balloon or something, and they hijacked it. They were happy, except they hit a power line, and they were pretty sad.
Yeah, I saw one crash into a river.
In real life.
No, on YouTube. That'd be crazy.
That
Okay, switch
reminds
it
me
up.
in the flight simulators when they get the hot air balloons doing loops.
Sorry, alright, let's go back to the actual meaning
okay.
of the question.
Uplifting things happening.
It's what is the most uplifting thing happening in the world right now, and what is the most tragic?
Alright. I think the most uplifting thing would be the birth of new life.
Yeah, I would agree. Just in general, children being born, that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it represents the future,
Mm-hmm.
It represents, childhood, innocence, the start of something new, the start of something better.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is gonna sound really morbid, but if you're spiritual, it'll make sense. I think death is more beautiful than life. Like, first starting. Because life is all about struggle. Whereas death, you're at the end of your struggle, and you have conquered it. And then you're moving on to the next life. And that's struggle-free. Or at least theoretically.
I can see that.
I 100% am the opposite. I think that life is more beautiful because of death. Because think about it, if you could just live forever and you don't have to worry about dying, you don't have to worry about getting hurt or anything like that, like, life isn't something that's special or something that is to be cherished. But, like, you see people who, like, almost die, or, like, they have someone close to them die, and it just makes them value their life and the time they have left so much more.
But that's why death is so important.
Yeah. It gives value to life.
Yeah.
That's what death is. But, I mean, uplifting things, the birth of new life is great. I was thinking, I don't know, I was trying to think of, like, specific events, like in the news and stuff, but, you know, the news doesn't ever cover happy things, because that's when people stop watching, you know? 'Cause they don't want to be informed about the good, they want to be updated on the bad.
Well, that's just what gets the most ratings, though.
Yeah.
Moving on?
Yeah.
Awesome. I like this. It's
Did
like
we answer the tragic part, though?
though?
Do you want us to do that?
Yeah.
I definitely don't think death is the most tragic thing,
No,
though.
definitely.
Okay,
No,
maybe
definitely
maybe
not.
tragic deaths,
Yeah.
like premature deaths.
Yeah,
like
a car
children,
crash.
yeah, kids
Children
dying in a
is
car
terrible.
crash, or like children getting sick and dying, or like horrible accidents like that. But like natural death of old age, I don't think is bad. I would say probably war is the most tragic thing.
It's a terrible thing.
It really is. Like, dude, imagine if instead of like fighting each other, we played pickup basketball.
And the country
Yeah,
that wins
like
won the war.
Dude, we would be even more
US
dominant
would be
than we
so
are
undefeated.
normally, like militarily.
Yeah, but then people would just like breed to make the best basketball players, and that's messed up in its own.
I feel like
its own
Obama would just be dunking on Kim Jong-un. Just like between the
I
legs.
don't think it's like the political leaders, though. I think
It
it's
could
like,
be though.
That-
In
you know how
that
cool that
world,
would
yes,
be?
it would be.
that would be awesome. Like, they don't even like have anything to do with policy or anything like that. They're just like
You just elect the buffest
shredding
dude.
ankles.
Dude, we just
Instead of King James, we'd have President James.
We just went from talking about how war and famine are awful to crossing Kim Jong-un. That was a jump. Okay, we're gonna move on. This one, I'm excited to see what you guys think about this. Are some lives more valuable than others?
Yeah. Okay, like that sounds really horrible, but like think about this. Say like a trolley problem kind of thing. So you're on a trolley and you can split the tracks two ways, and on one end there's like an 80-year-old man, and like he's lived all of his life already. And
Has he though?
I mean, he's lived the majority of his life. He's had a successful life. He's had kids, grandkids, a wife, you know, a successful job. He's retired.
Speaking of, what if that man is like insanely successful, or he's like really important in whatever he does, and the other dude's like a homeless man, but he's like 30?
That's not where I was going. I was going to say the other.
It's
The person on the other end is like a kid. I think that the value. I think that your value in your life is A, reflected by your moral character, and then B, reflected by your age. Because obviously I would say that a young child's life is inherently more valuable than like an elderly person's life. I don't know, that might seem pretty controversial, but just on the basis that like the young child has so much more potential to do things in their life and achieve things and better the world, and they have so much left to live for.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think we can liken this to like euthanasia compared to abortion, because it's a similar concept. It's not the same thing.
Yeah,
but
I know what you're saying, though.
You are like shortening the suffering of somebody that's already, you know, heading towards the end of their life compared to, you know, ending a potential life.
Yeah, that hasn't even started yet.
Yeah.
What do you think, Logan?
I'd agree with that. I mean, it's hard to say, you know, if all lives are like really equal. You know, I know that sounds pretty messed up, but everybody's got their own opinion on it. I would agree with Spence, definitely, about the euthanasia versus abortion, but in both cases, it's really just about the risk. I mean, everything's a matter of probability. I mean, that kid could turn out to be like the next Hitler.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he could cure cancer.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's just a big gamble.
I don't know, like, I personally, like, there's a question, would you go back in time and kill baby Hitler?
I wouldn't kill baby Hitler.
Because baby Hitler only became Hitler because of his environment. It wasn't
what he went through.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't him, like the baby who was like predestined to become Hitler.
Right. Yep.
And honestly, someone else probably would have taken his place in those circumstances in the way Germany was in.
Definitely.
So I would have gone back in time and maybe put him in a better home, put him in a better environment. I don't know.
Maybe changed how World War I ended.
Well,
I mean that's a stretch, but
yeah,
that kind of led to the.
Or you go back in time and
Situations.
kill Franz Ferdinand as a baby instead.
Wouldn't that?
That would just be
That'd
a
be
whole
even
entire
worse. Yeah.
giant
What
rabbit hole.
if Franz Ferdinand was killed by time travelers?
Bro, what if Franz Ferdinand was a time traveler who went back in time to start World War One?
No. Here's what I'm
that would
saying.
explain, like, I mean, he took a detour, and then
Yeah.
he was just sitting in a cafe, like, waiting.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, no, they were just chilling, like, oh my god, I can't believe we did.
Missed
We
The
the
guys
missed
that
our
went
opportunity
back in
kill
time to
Franz
start
Ferdinand.
World War One were the time travelers, right? And they missed, and they were like, "Well, bummer." Except we know that he's going to go to this cafe and he's going to drive right by, right? So
Like,
just go
what
and
are
shoot
the
him.
odds of that, man? That's crazy.
That is insane.
I'm not saying that they are time travelers.
I'm just saying there's a really high probability.
I'm just saying that I'm 99% sure that they're time travelers.
How would time travel work though? Like the only way I could view time travel as like effective and not completely messing everything in the universe up is every time you time traveled, it opened up an alternate dimension.
No.
No.
I don't think it's like that.
Because alright, what do you think it would be like?
I think it would be like we're predestined to do stuff. I know this is kind of a bummer, but like if time travel is actually possible, we don't have free will. I'm just going to say it. We're not going to create a new parallel universe or whatever every time we travel back in time to change it.
We could, though,
I think
because
what
butterfly
happens.
effect.
Because
Have you heard of that?
yeah,
I've heard of it.
or like
Because
or
I mean-
like the grandfather paradox. If you go back in time
Yeah.
and kill your grandfather,
Well, that's exactly
before
what
you
I'm
were
saying.
born, like
what would
happens
happen?
then?
Or like in the Futurama episode, like where Fry is literally his own grandfather. That's the kind of time travel I'm talking about. You are already predestined to do everything that you're going to do in life. Like, yeah, that's a bummer, but if that's how time travel's going to work, that's how it's going to work.
I don't know. I think it's more plausible that you would open up another dimension every time you time traveled. So because that's the only way you'd be able to keep the flow of time going. Because if you go back in time and alter something, then all of the events are
After
changed,
that, yeah.
which would cause you to not be time traveling in the first place. You know.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Like with going back in time, you already did it in the past, and that already happened. You know what I mean? It's
Also, you have to factor
struggling to
in.
explain it.
You have to factor in the fact that the Earth is moving. So if you time traveled back even like a minute ago, you'd be like thousands of miles away from where Earth is now.
Mm-hmm.
Just because the Earth is constantly spinning around the sun, and the sun is constantly
The
orbiting
galaxy's
around in
moving
the
and
galaxy.
moving
Yeah.
in the galaxy. And, yeah.
So like that would be very hard to do. I don't think time travel is just one thing that I don't think would ever be possible.
No.
Yeah.
Or viable.
Yeah, unless if we found some like groundbreaking discovery in physics with like wormholes or something.
Yeah,
like
but at
that.
that point,
Well,
you
I mean, it's not
wanna
even
do it?
time
I
travel.
mean,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
with all these like insane, like this
Like-
could go horribly wrong.
Like the thing is, if you have the potential to like do time travel, you should probably have the potential to create like literally any reality you want to,
Yeah.
and like
Yeah.
a computer simulation or something like that. So you wouldn't really have any need. You'd be like, oh, want to go find out what would happen if we went and shot baby Hitler? Here, let's build a simulation where it happens, and we can watch and see something like that. I don't know. What were we originally talking about?
I don't know, but I got a really good new one.
Alright,
I just
okay.
thought of. What is the most beneficial emotion?
Sadness
Why?
or fear.
I was gonna say
I'm going to
fear.
change it to fear
I was going to say fear.
because
Is that an emotion though,
Yeah.
or is that like?
Okay,
Fear-
feeling
Yeah, I
afraid.
don't know.
I don't know. I feel like fear is the most primal emotion.
Yeah.
Because it's the least complicated out of any of the emotions. Like happiness is complicated, sadness is complicated, anger, disgust, all that's complicated. But fear, if you're afraid of something,
You're afraid
something
of it.
is going to get you.
Yep.
You are trying to survive, and humans would not be here if it wasn't for fear.
Fear
is what keeps you alive. You get the adrenaline pumping. Your fight or flight responses. You learn to run away. You learn to stay away from things that are dangerous to you because of fear. Because if you weren't afraid of anything, you just walk up to a tiger, you get mauled to death. You know, you just eat these berries and get poisoned and die, you know?
And, like, fear leads innovation, too. Like, that's the reason why we have fire. Well, I mean, maybe not fire, but, like, weapons. Because we were afraid of the tigers. We wanted to figure out a way to fight back. So we developed that because we were afraid.
Yeah, exactly. You're afraid of the dark, so you invent lights. Yeah, fires, light, candles, stuff like that.
Yeah, you're afraid of death, so you're working for immortality.
Yeah, you're afraid of the cold, so you invent heat and stuff like that. I agree. But except nowadays, in our modern civilization, I think it'd be pretty awesome to be able to live without fear.
I think that would be a stupid.
I feel like I would
really
you would definitely die very quickly.
I think that would lead to the extinction of the human race.
Like, no, just like me personally, like, you know how awesome it'd be to be like literally fearless.
It'd be dangerous.
It'd be dangerous, but it would also be awesome. I think it'd be worth it.
Yeah, fear is like, that's why you're not dead right now.
That's facts.
Because you would climb up on a roof, and all your friends would be like, jump, and you wouldn't be afraid, so you just do it.
Yeah, exactly. I agree, but, like, I still think it'd be cool. Like, there's people who are born without, like, the ability to feel pain. Like, there's something wrong with their neurons.
And then
they
they die at, like, 30 because they don't know what's wrong.
They die so like, they'll, like, break their ankle and just walk on it for, like, weeks without even realizing
it. Or they'll just, like, bite their
pain.
lips, and they'll have to get stitches all the time.
Yeah, so, like... And everyone's like, "Oh wow, you don't feel pain? That's so awesome!" And they're like, "Yeah, it's horrible. Like I burn myself like once a week, at least. Like I literally just grab things out of the oven because I can't feel the pain."
Okay, on the flip side of that, what's the most destructive?
Oh,
I would say
fear
also
again.
fear.
Yeah. Fear is like what promoted the Holocaust. Fear is what caused Gulag.
I think every single war could be considered to be
a war of fear.
Yeah, exactly. Like, all the massive hysteria about the Jews is what caused the Holocaust, like Spencer said. Mm-hmm. Like, fear of the unknown with, like, the fights between Native Americans and, like, the Europeans, the British,
I would say...
Jealousy, I think, would be a good one, too.
Yeah.
That, for both beneficial and the most destructive, this is going to be controversial, but happiness.
I was just kind of going to go along with that because...
beneficial... Humans, I mean, just like guinea pigs or vice versa, they need, like, connections with people, and that makes us happy, and it gives us, like, dopamine and stuff, and that has to do with the social hierarchy, and, like, the more dopamine that your brain releases, the higher up on the social hierarchy you're going to be, because you're able to form better connections with people. So you're going to be happy, and that drives your life. However, on the flip side, happiness can breed ignorance, and when you're ignorant, you just you lose standing very quickly.
Where I was going to go with that is kind of some alternate like twisted versions of happiness, like greed and lust, you know? Because if you're completely driven by happiness and like happiness for yourself, you're going to go out of your way to do things that benefit yourself and that might A hurt other people and benefit yourself, or B like make you happy in the short term, but then in the long term it'll end up biting you in the butt, like certain drugs like meth or heroin or something like that.
Yeah, for sure. I 100% agree with that.
I don't know, just kind of become really self-destructive, like seeking out those highs and seeking out that dopamine.
Got another question, Mike?
I'm looking for a good one. There's a lot of good ones, but man, it's hard to choose.
So I got a shout out just before this. They wanted more crab talk or lobster talk. I'm sorry,
no.
We're not going there.
Oh, okay.
We're not going to go there. We already discussed this in like 3 episodes. So if you want to hear about lobsters and crabs, check out episode 5 and episode 4. I think those are the ones with crustaceans.
No, I want to shout out the Wild Kratts. That show was pretty sick.
It's a good show.
It's a good show. I know it's a kid's show, but you should if
I still watch it.
You should definitely watch it.
Anyway, we're back to you, Logan.
All right.
This one just messed me up. If you could become immortal on the condition that you could never be able to die or kill yourself, would you choose immortality?
You didn't even have to read the second part. I would never become immortal. Because when you become immortal...
What if everybody else did the same thing? Everybody else on the planet chose the same decision. They had the same decision.
No. Because what happens when the Earth runs out of resources? Or what happens when the Earth gets swallowed up by the sun?
Yeah. I mean, that'd be cool to find out.
No, you can't die.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
So you just be floating in space for billions of years? I'd much rather do that than...
Yeah.
That would not be sick.
I said that'd be insane. I mean, just, like, thinking about that, like, nothing can kill you. That's just
what
insane
happens?
to me.
What happens if the universe ends?
You don't die. Like, you can't die. Like, that's just, you can't comprehend that.
Yeah, that is crazy. Like people talk about like, oh, there was nothing before the universe, or like there was
what would be before,
but like you really can't imagine nothing because like you think of nothing, you think okay, so it's just like pitch black. Nope, there's not even that. It's literally just nothing. No anything. Like
it's like when you're asleep, that's what nothing is.
No, because not even then, because then you're asleep. You know, you got your dreams. You're still breathing.
No, like sleeping without dreams is what nothing is. Because you don't recognize it.
I mean, honestly, like people talk about like what there is before death, and like I don't know, what if it's just like being asleep? I don't know. It doesn't really make any sense to me. But like, you don't remember anything from before you were a baby. When you die, are you gonna remember what happened to you on Earth? Or I don't know. I saw this thing, and it was like just this dumb Instagram post. But, like, it still kind of made me think, because it's like, it's obviously not true, but, like, what if when you die, you go through the light at the end of the tunnel, and then on the other side of the tunnel is you being born again as a baby, and you're crying because you're dead, and you're forgetting all of your old memories. And then as you grow older, and as your brain kind of develops, like, you kind of start to forget about that. Like, kids have such more vivid imaginations. They have such more vivid dreams. Like, I think I was talking with you guys about this earlier. This might even be on another episode of the podcast. I don't even know. But about there's been multiple cases of kids when they're, like, of a young age, like, saying that there's someone who they're not, and knowing, like, really, really, like, super particular details about certain people's lives. Like, there was this girl who, like, swore that her name was Anne, and, like Anne Frank, and she was, like, talking all this stuff about Anne Frank.
Crazy.
That was before the diary even came out. Like, it was insane. And then there's, like, an Anne Frank memorial museum or something like that, and they were on tour as, like, the house or whatever. And
wow.
And the daughter was like, yeah, check it out, and like she like perfectly navigated it and stuff. I don't know. I just thought it was kind of weird.
That is really weird.
You want to end this on a high note or a deep note?
Deep note.
Deep.
We probably have time to do both. We're only 22 minutes in.
Sure.
Yeah.
So which one do you want to end on?
We'll end on
flip a
high
coin.
note.
And on a high note? Okay.
Yeah, works.
First one. How replaceable are you?
Oh, man, that's a real question. I think that's what everybody should ask themselves. Like, genuinely ask themselves and step back and, like, think about that.
Just being asked that kind of takes you back, and you're like, wow. That's like, I mean, you are replaceable, but no one will ever be you again.
That's true. Like, I don't know. I like to think that I'm, like, a unique person. I'm probably not that unique, but I think everyone likes to think that they're a unique person.
Well, technically you are.
But with how many people there are in the world...
But there's no one exactly
I know,
like
but there's going to be someone who's pretty close.
But not
like,
you.
In mannerisms, look, voice. I know, but not you. I'd like to say that I'm irreplaceable.
Yeah.
I don't know.
On a technical level, everybody's replaceable, because...
You could clone them.
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, somebody has... I mean, I'm thinking about, like, the job world, you know? Like, everybody has some set of skills, and everybody has somebody that's, like, as good or better than they are.
Yeah.
Now, on, like an emotional scale, you know, you are irreplaceable. Nobody can ever be you again. Well, if you say no, why?
Yeah, I mean, I can see that, but yeah, I think that you are irreplaceable, like, as a person, but you should still, like, especially if you're trying to look for a purpose in life, you should ask yourself that question, because that's how you find, like, what you want to do. Well, yeah, that's how you find your meaning, is by finding how you're irreplaceable.
I mean, you gotta be really careful with that, though, because it depends on which approach you take. Like, if you do the emotional one, yeah, you're irreplaceable, but on the flip side, I mean, you can get really depressed by thinking, like, I am nothing. You know, there's so many people in this world. What do I, as an individual, contribute?
Well, and that's exactly what you have to do. You have to ask yourself that. I keep throwing the pirate ship. I'm done. Okay. Anyway, you got to keep asking yourself that, and that's how you find your meaning. Because if you think to yourself, oh, I'm just this stupid bag of flesh. I'm going to sneeze.
Bless you.
Anyway, if I'm just this person that has no meaning in life, what's my point here? I need to find a reason to be here, and I need to step outside and, think for myself and do something that'll positively influence the world.
True, but not everyone's going to be this crazy world-changing person, though. And I don't think...
you don't have to be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's a really good way to look at it.
You don't have to be the next Gandhi. You just need to be a good person. That's the best way to put it. Like, be the Gandhi of your friend group. Be the Gandhi of your family if you can,
Yeah, that's a fact.
Yeah.
But from a consciousness standpoint, because we are the stream of consciousness.
That's facts.
You are irreplaceable because
love yourself.
The thing is, you use my home dogs, but I'm not Spencer's consciousness. I'm not Logan's consciousness. Yep. I'm me. This is all I know. This is all I ever will know. Is just behind these pair of eyes. I'll never be able to see things from any other point of view. So in that kind of sense, you are irreplaceable because you're never going to experience life from somebody else's point of view.
That's a beautiful way to put it, Jerry.
So you just kind of got to do you.
Yeah. That was low note, high note.
That was really good, bro.
That was good.
I don't even know if I want to follow that up with another question just because of how good that was.
Just send it.
Just send it?
Just send it.
Okay. I got one more for you folks. Let me find it. This isn't really a high note. It's just kind of, again, looking into our moral character. Why do we judge ourselves, or maybe our close friends, by our intentions, but judge others by their actions?
I think, I'm going right off the bat, I think you should judge everyone by their actions.
I agree.
But, there is a saying, that's the thought that counts.
No, actions speak louder than words in every sense.
But no, that's not necessarily true, because, you could try to, do something nice for somebody. Say I was throwing a surprise party for someone, right? And I was like, you know what? I love this guy. I'm going to throw him a surprise party, get all of our friends there. And he shows up and he's like, I hate surprise parties. I'm so mad at you.
Okay, but that's not...
That's an action.
Yeah, that's an action, but it was a well-meant action.
Yeah, it's an intention.
You were trying... It wasn't a thought, though. That's the difference, because... You were trying to do this, and you did this thing that you thought was nice, and the other person reacted differently.
It's a good action.
It's not like you were thinking about throwing a surprise party, and then you didn't. That would be a thought, Yeah. Because, there's these people who do, horrible, horrible things, like school shooters, rapists, pedophiles, all this different stuff. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, maybe not a lot of people, but some people argue, be like, oh, I'm sure deep down they're good.
But can I
talk about
this? The Columbine shooters, what they genuinely thought was that they were doing a good thing with what they did. Their intentions, they knew that they were going to kill people, but they thought they were purifying the planet. I know it's heavy, but I think you can look up their diaries or whatever, and you can actually see that. They thought they were going to be these purifiers of the planet, and that's why they shot themselves at the end of it.
I'm pretty sure they were just homicidal maniacs.
Yeah, I'd agree with Jerry.
No, seriously, you can look up the...
I don't want to.
Journal entries from them.
That's just Eric, because Eric was...
Well, because Eric's... He's a crazy guy.
Level. Anyway. But anyways, I'm going to spin it a little more positive.
Yeah, make it positive. That was depressing.
Good one, if you want to end on a positive note.
You got a good one? Hold up. I'm just going to finish this last saying. You are... everything that you do, nobody else is going to know what you think. You could think about doing something good, you could think about doing something bad. Nobody will ever know, but what people will know is what you actually do. So, try and put forth as many positive actions. Don't have positive thoughts, have positive actions. Don't say, oh, I should probably go do this, I might go do this, just go do it, Mm-hmm. Because... in the end, people aren't going to remember you for your thoughts. They're going to remember you for your actions.
Yeah. Actually, I want to do one more. And, you guys could run with it either way, cynical, or you could be really cool about it. But I really liked this one. This will be the last one, I promise. is happiness just chemicals flowing through your brain, or is there something more to it?
Okay, all right.
I know. Whichever path you take, that's it.
We're gonna get really deep here.
I think at a fundamental level, it is chemicals through your brain. But I think our brain is a weird thing. Like, we give meaning to the chemicals that flow through our brain, which is insane to think about. Just even, like, try to wrap your mind around that, where our brain's trying to understand our brains. But happiness, yeah, it is the dopamine and the serotonin or whatever that runs through your head. But it's also, like, what you do with it and how your brain interprets the chemicals.
The thing is, happiness isn't just chemicals in our brain. Our entire brain is just chemicals. Everything we do is a chemical reaction. And I'm a spiritual person, so I think there's more to us than just a fleshy, fatty bunch of tissues that are sending, like, neuronic, like, transportation cells or whatever, sending messages back and forth between each other. I think there's more to it than that. But, like, on a scientific level, on, like, a pharmacological level, every single thing we do is just a bunch of different chemical reactions happening really fast. Every thought we have, everything we do, every choice we make, which is, like, really whack to think about.
I completely, kind of, sort of agree with you guys.
So you don't completely agree?
I think, like you guys were saying, on the most basic level, yeah, our brains, they produce dopamine and all the other chemicals that make happiness, and that's how we know, chemically and, like, psychologically, that we're happy. But I feel like there's something more, because as humans, especially, we are privileged enough to be able to give those those chemicals an emotional value. I believe that's what sets us apart from just animals, is being able to actually interpret those chemical messages and turn them into something of substance.
That's a fact. And when you go and think about the things that are, like, the truly the happiest things in the world, they're not the short little things that make you feel good. You know, it's not that shot of heroin or something like that. That's really extreme. But it's not that time you, like, watched Netflix and you felt good, or it's not that time you, like, hit the jackpot at the casino or something like that. You know, it's like the deep and powerful connections that you make with other people. It's the relationships. It's like the fond memories and, like, the sharing of happiness between each other that creates almost a deeper level of emotion that's more than just a bunch of different chemicals that are like rewarding you for doing something that's beneficial to survival.
100% agree.
Yeah.
Boys, I think that's an awesome place to stop.
Yeah.
And on a high note.
Yeah.
All right.
Any closing remarks?
Some food for thought. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Oh, yeah. All right.
I will see you guys on the next episode of Stream of Consciousness.
All right. Peace out.